There we go. There we go.
Man, I look chubby, dude.
Oh, what's that? You're huge. Look at my face. God, looks like I have two hamsters crawling around in my mouth.
Yeah.
I like the
A little
haircut.
bit full, that's true.
Wow. So
How's
yeah,
food been going?
food. It's good. It's a lot, but it's nice. I'm still like, we're 5.5 weeks out or post show. I am, anyways. So you're 6.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Come on,
6.5.
like that.
I'm feeling pretty good. So I think I'm up. Was it 16 pounds? Not
Same
bad.
with me.
Oh, awesome. And you look twice as big as me. Imagine that. Love how that works.
Funniest thing ever happened today, though.
What's
That's
that?
going to be a nice conversation once I get to the gym. Remember that I taped the plates through the dumbbells
Yeah, I did. Yes.
last week? So I did the same thing yesterday, but I used rubber bands.
Oh,
And I
like the
added
picture
2
I showed
plates
you.
inside on each dumbbell.
Yeah.
But I didn't take them apart, so I just put them aside with the added weight on them and the straps. Because, dude, it was so hard to get the bands around it, man. Like, I had
Yeah.
to completely stretch the shit out of it and then twist it around, and it kept snapping off and almost lost my shit, dude. So I just left them there because I wanted to use them today for dumbbell rows. And
Yeah.
then I had an email this morning from the manager complaining about the fact that he admires the creativity, but he doesn't like me adding weights to the dumbbells.
That's
So
fantastic.
the girls last night had to take them apart and must have been a
Oh
pain
no,
in the ass.
that's kind of rough.
Yeah, so
That
I'll apologize once I get there. And the funny
well,
thing is,
you
though,
could probably do it.
well,
Just take them off.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, one of the front desk girls walked around gym yesterday while I was
Yeah.
benching them. And then because she's the girl that I've talked to whether it's possible to get heavier dumbbells for the gym. And I was like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
look at these. I built them myself. And she's like, well, great. So she could have said something right then and there to
Right there.
just tell me, could you please take them apart once you're done with them? But she didn't.
Yeah.
She
No.
just raised her thumb and kept
She
walking.
was just like, oh, that big guy. I'm scared of that guy. But
No. Everybody knows that I'm nice.
that's true. So hold on a second.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, that's what I did. But I used 2
Yeah.
plates aside.
Yeah, that was me at Good Life there with the hundreds strapped 2 10s on each side. No, sorry, 2 5s.
Oh, yeah, those 2. Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah, 2 5s on each side. It's like you got to do something. I was like, I didn't have tape, so I just like that's one green band wrapped around real tight.
Yeah, I use these smaller ones, these that you put around your knees, or that
Oh,
some girls put around their knees when they do squats or leg presses.
well, you can admit that you use that too. It's fine. It's probably your
Well, I
bands.
don't use bands.
Yeah. I see you do the little crab walk thing along the side of in front of the free weights.
Carry on.
Yeah, man, I saw it. There's videos. No, okay, yeah, that would be a little bit more difficult probably. But
Oh yeah,
I find like the bands though are a lot safer than like ever see people having like the 100-pound dumbbells and they stick like a 5 or 10 inside of them.
yeah.
Like they like get somebody else to put the 10s on the dumbbells.
Jeff Long always does that with dumbbell
God,
rows.
that shit's scary.
Like he just takes a 135 and then puts an 80 on top of it. and
It's
start growing.
terrifying. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
just
no
sucks,
thanks.
dude. I wish we had heavier dumbbells.
You're at a good life, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. What's yours? Hundreds as well. Yeah. I
yeah,
don't, man. I don't think they will. I go to a good life that has 110s, but they were from an old gym that they were from our old gym that they took over.
yeah.
Like they took over. They had it used to be New Bodies here in Nova Scotia, and Good Life took over, but they didn't get rid of some of the equipment. They just left it. So
Okay.
the 110s are from like an older gym that they like just acquired. But
Yeah, but the Good Life in Adri has 120s.
oh yeah, I wasn't strong enough to use those. I didn't even know. I'm just kidding. I could probably have shrugged them back then.
Oh, you did?
I think so.
Yeah,
Didn't
I
get
remember
these.
you doing that. Dumbbell rows too.
Oh yeah, didn't get those.
We did dumbbell rows with them.
Right. Okay. You and I was just trying to. I was just trying to impress you. That's all. I was like, if I do this, he'll be my friend. Then we went out for ice cream that night, so it worked.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah. So so it worked. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah, I can't wait to go to the gym tonight. Be another good one.
yeah. What are you
Strength
planning
has
on
really
doing?
been going up lately. It's good. It's fun.
What are you? So what? Okay, you said you're doing your. You just started like prep for the nationals.
Yeah.
And when you say prep, because you're not dieting yet, what do you mean by prep?
Well, basically cleaned up my diet. So I did remove some carbohydrates. So
But
I
like your
reduced my
diet was clean
calories a little
anyway,
bit.
was it not?
But yeah, but I was eating things like honey and jam and bagels and cereal.
Oh my goodness, no.
So I basically eliminated that
Okay.
and added oats instead, or just removed them entirely. So I'm eating 150 grams of carbohydrates less right now. And I incorporated a little bit of cardio, but
Okay.
not really.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm cycling to work, and then from work to the gym, and then from the gym back home.
Oh, that's not bad at all. How long?
Yeah.
What kind of? How long does that take you?
Well, it takes me about 15 minutes or 20 minutes to get to work, and then another 10 to get to the gym, and then from the gym home about 25.
Well, that's not bad at all. I think if I lived that close to everything, I probably would do the same thing for sure. Man, but I live
I don't
like,
have another choice.
I guess, dude. I'm like, I don't know, 32 minutes away from my job from work. So
Jesus,
yeah, so it's a bit of a drive every morning.
well, that sucks.
It does. Yeah, but oh, it is
So
what it
yeah,
is
that's
for
basically
now.
that. And then I went back to training 6 days a week. It's another
Right.
change that I've.
Does like how does that help? What about your recovery? Like, are you feeling like you're recovering well with the 6 day training? Like, you're not
Oh yeah,
exhausted? Oh yeah, right. Because you're like only young. I forgot that you're only 30. Right. I'm 40 now, so it's a little. It feels. I feel a little bit more tired through it.
well, I got plenty of sleep, and I don't have a physically taxing job. So
That probably helps a lot.
besides, when I have a customer in the store, I'm sitting in my stool all day. So
Oh, you suck.
not really demanding.
Damn it. Yeah. Like my job, I am. Like I think I told you before, dude. Like I'm on my feet for almost 8 hours. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty rough. I get a
Oh,
little sore. Oh,
yeah.
hold on a
So that's
second
that.
here. Hold on a sec.
Did he text you?
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. I think that's him. There he is.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hey,
Wait up.
the man of the hour.
What's up,
So,
dude?
guys, how you doing, guys?
Hey, great man. How are you?
I'm good, brother.
Oh,
Let me see if
fantastic.
I can use this iPod things.
All right,
So
no, that
connected.
works.
I don't know how to connect the iPods. Whatever.
We can hear you loud and
Let's
clear.
take this out.
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Oh, you hear me? Oh, perfect. Okay. Do you hear me properly?
Yeah, you're looking great.
Okay, perfect. Wait a minute.
Sure, yeah, no
Yes.
problem. Hey, cool. I'm glad we stayed on.
Whew. So there you go. So let's talk about whatever now.
Well, awesome, man. Welcome to Bodybuilding's Amateur Hour. So, um, we kind of designed this podcast we kind of like to go and give as much information as we can to like a lot of upcoming competitors, people maybe that are competing for the first time or have competed a lot but are still trying to make their way into the pro leagues, or that are just just love the sport and is trying to figure out how to do it better.
Perfect. That's a good thing, man, because I'm
Yeah,
very
so we're really trying to get some information out there to the amateurs just to help them progress, right? To
yeah.
What mistakes
because
to not do or to prevent things like that.
yeah, 100%. Like kind of you know sharing all the shit that we went through. So hopefully maybe they won't do the same thing.
Yeah, man. Honestly, for me today, after 20 years of being doing it, I will tell you, I went from just having a dream
Yep.
to make it a reality 100%. The way I pictured, the way I spoke to it, it becomes to be 100% the way I did. So, and in all terms, so first, I was 16 years old when I saw my first magazine, and it was 1999,
1999. Okay.
and it was a magazine from 1996
Well,
because I think it was Flex Wheeler and Chris Cormier competing in the Arnold in the Ironman, and they used to do shows back to back, and they compete against each other and stuff like this. It was also Miro Tartep and the magazine. So these are the type of physiques that make me fucking engage and love right away with bodybuilding. So the aesthetic of these guys.
yeah.
So eventually I started looking for more magazines, and man, I saw Dorian, but it was already in my head the first three people that I saw, and Dorian was looking ugly for me in terms of the beauty and the physique.
Right.
The harmony, because these guys look round on the muscle belly, but Dorian was thick and square and stuff like that. So I didn't know anything because I'm talking about magazines. It was in English and it was in my country. I'm from Venezuela, so I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
That's my first language. So I was just looking on the pictures, right? But then I found one that it was right in Spanish, but it comes from Spain.
Okay.
So I started reading and I started just trying to understand what it was saying. And it was a little book like this, small, from Arnold. And it was something that says the 50 secrets to accelerate your muscle gain. So that
Interesting.
little book talks about the formula from how much protein per kilogram you should eat to grow, how much carbohydrate, how much fats, and the source of these nutrients. All right.
Right.
So that's how I get to understand that I needed to eat 6 times a day and a specific what. So going over that thing, I started like just from one day to another, start eating and start training. But the training I was doing it was just pull ups, push ups, dips, nothing on my legs because I didn't know how to make it because no
Yeah.
equipment, nothing, right? So eventually, bro, I was gained some like a little, inflammation in the upper body, and I was excited about it. So one
You
day
started.
I saw a guy walking in the street, very jacket, not too much legs, but in the upper body, he was like the atomic ant.
Yeah. Yes. I think so.
Yeah, they used to do only like competition in the press, on the chest press only. So they were huge, and I started
Just.
following this guy for like maybe 1 hour walking, and the guy was going to the gym. And
Okay.
I get to the gym and I start looking people training, but it was weird because nobody has legs. So
That's yeah.
yeah, so and I started like, okay, so I will do this. So like a month later, I was doing a little bit of good gain. So my sister started telling me, "You look like a cone, like a little cone from the ice cream
Yeah. Yeah.
because no legs." And I was kind of like, "What the fuck?" So then I got another magazine, and this magazine was um, Joe Wader System. And it was all the pictures and the things that based on what is bodybuilding, the symmetry, the harmony, everything. Like you should have some kind of mixture between your neck, your forearms, your calves, all of that. And
Right.
then it was something that Mike Mansur, the way he posed, and through the magazine is how I learned to pose because they explain like very very specific on what to do
Oh,
to be able
cool.
to pose. So for me, posing was easy because of that and because I had a good ability to dance. So I was able to
Right.
mimic the picture. So I learned how to do the Christmas tree even when I didn't have the muscle, but I can see it just because they explain like you roll the arms, you squeeze your abs, and then you just do the muscle contraction, and I start seeing it. Everybody can do the Christmas tree if they know how to manipulate the body to make it happen, even if they don't have big muscles. So in that way, I was so excited, man.
That's really strange. It's like you seem to almost have done it backwards than a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
he
That's
actually did
why.
it the right way.
Oh, for
Because
It
sure.
was
But no
posing,
one does
it
that.
sounds like posing for him came naturally just because he had rhythm from dancing. It's kind of like the same thing with me with breakdancing. Posing was easy for me right from the beginning.
Yeah, yes. Because it's that you engage your muscle with the body, and the same way you move dancing is the way we pose. And it's also the way the people who do karate they do the kata thing, right?
Okay.
So one day my mom come with a new magazine and it was fucking Ronnie Coleman, man.
Oh no. Yeah.
And then is when I start looking at, oh no, I gotta go to the gym.
So you were
And
doing all of this training at home mostly?
yeah, and in the park. And it was for like a year and a half.
Oh wow.
So that was a little bit of calisthenic in the foundation, you know?
Yep.
So eventually I went to the gym, but just because my mom, my sister was just having like jogs on me every day, I started hitting legs twice a week,
Nice.
Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, and that's how legs come out of control, you know.
Yeah,
So,
your legs are bonkers, man. Do they just
yeah,
respond like? Do they respond really quick?
yeah, still very well,
They're
and I'm
still
happy
yeah.
about that because okay, based on being a dancer and skinny, I was very flexible,
Oh, cool. I
you
didn't know
know.
that.
So for
Or
me, I
what
was
was that,
always
Alex?
because when I went to the gym before going to it, this is the fun part of my history, you know, the beginning, because being a little bit of ignorance in some points,
Mm-hmm.
it was good because I was for like my first 5 years, I was spending 3 hours in the gym working out every
Cool.
day, 3 hours, non-stop. So my routine was one exercise for quads, one exercise for hamstring at the same time, like a superset. I didn't know it was a superset, but I was just doing it.
You were just going
And I
for it.
was just doing every equipment in the gym. I don't know if you had the opportunity to saw those leg press that you take the pad off and put that two things, the pads for the half quad.
Right. So it's the leg
Yo,
press. You
so
flip
it
it.
was
You flip
me.
it around, and then you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was me doing a leg press and then what the fuck, put it back and do the half squats.
Right.
And then from there, going to lion curve, going to seat, hamstring, and all of that things. I was doing everything, all the equipment for all body parts. I was always doing that for 5 years. And then one day I decided to do a show. And a guy was like, okay, I help you. It was good because he won that year best poser. And I
Yeah.
wanted to do it like he did. So we went to the show, but one bad thing was that no one of us know how to cook the like do the cooking to the competition, like the diet.
Oh.
So
Okay.
no, we missed that part because everything I get, it was about to get bigger.
Yeah.
So nothing about like going down or something like that. No supplements, nothing. It was just food and that's it.
You just like.
So I went with 6'1", let's say 6 foot. I went from 167 pounds
Okay.
to 230. That was my first show, around 230 pounds.
Holy smokes.
And yeah, like training and eating because it was me eating even when my family was telling me, "Oh, you could get sick." I wasn't listening because I was so blind by this feeling, the getting pumped and all of that, and I didn't have like a bad influence on my size, you know,
Right.
at all. So the people at the gym was just doing their things and things like that. So when I started looking myself like some marks in my arms and my shoulders, it was the stray marks coming out. And that's when I felt like, oh my God, I hit a good side or something. And
Something's
then I
happening.
decided to do the show. So when I did the show, everybody, man, it was veiny, and I was like, something's wrong with me, you know?
Something's
I was
wrong.
like, how do I look like that? So
Like, what is
I know
happening to
how,
you?
you know. So one guy was telling me, no, you should do a cycle, you should do growth hormone, you should do this, you should do that. And I started
Is all
wondering,
that stuff legal down there, right?
oh yeah, no
Yeah.
one knows that's illegal. That's the point. No
Yeah.
one knows it's illegal.
You're right.
It's
So,
probably cheaper
brother.
protein powder.
Kind of, yeah,
Probably.
yeah. So then I start talking to my mom. So, oh, I should do this. They said I need to buy Deca. I need to buy Bolden. I need to buy Winslow. And my mom was like, "What are you talking about? Let's find out." So, no, that's the
Right.
medication you need to drink. And she was, no, it's not drinking. It's injectable. And I was like,
Drink
oh,
it.
She knew.
okay, yeah, because she had a book, you know those pharmaceutical books that says all the name of the medication that there is
It's just like,
available from labs and stuff. It was like a dictionary because she was studying for school.
oh, okay.
So my mom told me, no, Arnold did that, and Arnold had a heart surgery, and Arnold this, and Arnold that. And I was like, oh, okay. So another year, me listening to the people in the gym, listening everybody around, looking at the guys competing, until I get the point and I start reading that book by myself. And man, it was good because all the organon names, it was there. All labs was right there. And then this is how I learned about gears because
Yeah.
that book says exactly what is the medication, what is used for, how long lasting in the body,
Mm-hmm.
and what you can combine with. So when I understood that, I went to talk to somebody at the gym, and the guy didn't know about it,
Well,
and I
probably
was like,
most people have no sweet clue.
exactly. So I start feeling kind of like, oh, you're supposed to know because you look big, right?
Right.
So and then I feel like, okay, no one's know. Maybe they are asking for this amount of money because they think I don't know. And then my mom, thanks God, she started supporting me, so she started going with me to the pharmacy, and she got those little ampoules of Deca 2500 milligrams,
That's awesome. Okay.
and I started injecting that shit. And then I started taking some. You remember those pills, Anabolics? Is what Arnold used to drink, like the little pills. It's like a Danable, but it's not Danable. It's another stuff.
Yeah, it's a
It,
little not so harsh.
yeah, it was just water retention, and it
Right.
was like,
Yeah.
you know, and I was drinking like 10 pill of that every day because it was two milligram each pill, and you can imagine me with like 19 years old, no, 21 years old, looking at my veins and doing. I was doing pull ups and dips in any bar I went through it, just
Right.
holding
Okay.
people, my muscles, my games, and all of that thing until I was found by one guy who says, do you really want to compete? And I say, of course. I want to be a professional. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be like Dorian. I want to be like Ronnie. So
Right.
that guy says, okay, I help you. And that was the first time I did a diet. Of course, when I went to the show, I was in the super heavyweight class already. And everything was there,
Yeah.
but not 100% hard, right?
Yeah, of course.
But another guy who was good in the whole country, he looked at me and he says, you got the potential, but you need to work with somebody who really knows. So these guys is the first person who really convinced me, yes, you can be professional. Your body is just like absolutely predisposed to this sport, 100% from your toes to your head. And he helped me with some of the gears and the whole protocol properly, the diet, the amino acids. He explained to me so many aspects of this sport that just because I was a kid and I was so hungry for learning, everything he says, it was just nearly. So I went to my house, I started diet, I started cardio, I started everything. Of course, it was kind of crazy because it was like 21-day low carb.
This episode is not brought to you by Mutant, but it is brought to you by me. So go to iammutant.ca and use Joshua T20 at your checkout when you're purchasing those freaking awesome supplements and apparel. Check out the double XL all the way up to 5XL shirts now, boys. All right, enjoy and back to the podcast.
like zero car for like maybe 15 days.
Oh,
But it was
ouch.
cool because I was eating maybe 300 grams of red meat in every meal. And it was 3 meals with red meat, 2 meals with
Whoa.
chicken, and 1 meal with egg whites. I was eating the double amount of food that I'm eating right now because the
I,
formula that I read, it
what was
was
that?
like
Sorry?
3 grams of protein per kilogram. So I wasn't doing it right, but at least I was eating 300 grams of chicken and steak.
Phew.
But I should eat 300 in the whole day, not in every meal. You
Not
know,
every, throughout the whole day. Okay. I was like, good
that's
God.
why I get so fat. Yeah, I get fat, but at the same time I was big because I
Right.
was. It was the right thing because let's say, and I will say it this way: today I can say it was. I could say it was wrong, but today I can say it was right because I was so young. I was creating the demand of the body be able to use the amount of food because I was training 3 hours every day, and
Yeah.
it was
That makes
just
sense.
me not creating limitations in my head. I wasn't stressful. I wasn't afraid of losing size. So my first show with good condition was at 234 pounds on stage, and I get second place. So when I walk out of the stage to the back side, everybody came and take pictures with me instead of the first place guy, and that makes me feel like, oh my god, they like the way I look. And when I saw the pictures,
Yeah.
honestly, by that time, I feel like I look like Milo Sarce in the magazine.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that
That must have
made
been an
my
amazing
dream come
feeling.
true. No, it was like, yeah, I was already like, wow, in my own. So that guy who helped me, he died a week later. It broke my heart that he died because
A
he
week
was the only
after
person
your
who,
show?
What
yeah,
happened?
yeah, he died. He got in a car accident and it was really bad for all the community in my country. It was really, really bad. His name was Antonio Cantapio. So
Bless his soul.
for a while, like 3 weeks, I was lost and I was just wondering what the fuck I'm gonna do. So one guy was super smart. This is the guy who make everything change because
Oh.
this guy know the way I look, and he says, if I find a sponsor, I will make Manuel compete again. I will make him to go to the best coach, but I will go to the owner of the gym. I will ask to him to sponsor Manuel so I can sell him the gears.
Oh.
You get it? It was a motherfucker, but it was a good
Yep.
thing. So he asked the
Interesting.
owner and he asked the trainer, if I found somebody who sponsored Manuel, would you able to prepare him? And the guy was, of course. So he went to the gym and said to the guy, this guy's gonna prep him. You know he's
Right.
a potential winner. So if he prepare him, you will pay for his flight ticket to go to United States to compete in the South State Championship. And the owner said, okay, send me a picture in 6 weeks and we will find out.
Interesting.
So the guy came to me and said, hey, I'm gonna bring you to Richard in that place, so he will prep you on my cost. I pay for it. And I was, okay, let's go. So I went to see him. He says yes. And then the guy found all the gears I needed from the owner of the gym. Well, he sell it, but the guy paid. The guy from the gym
Right.
paid.
Right.
So bro, I used to study. As soon as the
That's
guy said yes, I started working out. But I was the happiest person in my life
that's
that time.
wild. You're living so many people's dream right there.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
from
bro.
that, how
But the
much
thing
longer did it take you to turn pro?
What was that?
that
Sorry,
was
Alex.
I started to compete in 2000, and I turned pro in 2008.
All right, 8 years.
Yeah, but it
That
was
that's
fast. I was already when I did professional. I was already in 230 pounds on stage. I gained 100 pounds of muscles, and everybody around me was like, he must
wow.
taking something
And
special
see
or
where I
something like
am.
that. No, bro, trust me, I was the happiest guy. So, man, I did a South State Championship. I won in 2007. I won that show, and then I get my pro card in my country in another show, and then I moved to United States. And my first
You
show
do.
here in the United States, it was the New York Pro. And
Oh,
that show is one of the best presentation I ever had based on the aesthetic and, like condition all over. It was perfect. But I get 11th place. And I was happy because if I named you the names who went from first to number 10, they all were in the magazines before me going to the show. So I was looking at them in the videos and the
No, for
magazines.
sure. Yeah.
The guy who won was Rolly Winkler.
Yeah.
Dennis
Okay.
Bow was next. Third place was Tony Freeman. Fourth place was Danny James. Fifth, it was Mike Liberatore. It was so many names. The last name was it was Ben Pakulski there.
Yeah. Like that's
It was
crazy.
Bill Wilmer. It was Bill Wilmer. It was another guy from Canada that is a trainer in the Pure Gym in Canada. Mike something his name. The last guy before me was Yamagishi.
Oh yeah, he's awesome too.
yeah.
He did Yamagishi. So for me,
Yep.
bro, I was like, I don't care the place I get. I don't. I just compete with the best guy.
You did. You were up there with the best in the world, standing beside them.
So
Yeah,
when you were on
it was
stage,
amazing.
did you feel like a competitor or more like a fan at that moment? Just being happy to be at that
And
place.
I was happy, but also I know that I was making a statement, because when I walk out, it was my first photo shoot with Flex magazine. I went from there straight to the sunset. It was like Steve, Steve Blackman wanted to make
Yep.
pictures for Muscle Development.
Oh, for
Flex
sure.
wanted
Yeah.
to make Mac pictures for me, and I was just like, "Oh my God, wait, that is giving me a contract." So I was so excited, but I couldn't speak English. So the only thing I
You're
understood it
right.
was that they will pay me 1,500 for the pictures. So that was my first paid photo shoot. I was doing hamstring. I was doing squat. Oh, the other guy who was on the competition was. You remember Eric Frankhauser?
Oh yeah, I
Eric
do.
Eric Frankhauser, the guy with the big
Yeah.
calf, and you know,
Oh yeah. Yes. Now. Yep.
these guys. I was doing a photo shoot for Flex, and um, it was Ben Pakulski, Eric Frankhauser, and another guy was doing a photo shoot for muscular development, and they were doing their exercise, but I was trying to do crazy, and I started doing squat with 5 plates. And when those guys look at me, they said, "You should not do it if you just do that show yesterday." And I say, "Why not?" I said, "Man, those motherfuckers put fake weights on the bar. Don't worry about it." And I was like, "What
The
the fuck are you
new.
talking about fake weights with a
You like the
computer?"
new
I
what?
said, "You don't have to be
Wait,
heavy. The picture,
wait.
the magazine, and the photo shoot." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what's those Ronnie Coleman picture with like 7, 8 plays in the bar is not true?" Because of course, When he's training at the gym is one thing, but because of the high dehydration and those stuff,
Right? Yeah, man.
I
That's just
understood, oh, you're not
silliness.
supposed to do it. Exactly. That's how I get it. But when I was doing the photo shoot, Dennis Wolf walked in and he was wondering, what do you eat, bro? And I was like, it was a guy there, and I was, what he's saying to me, what do you eat? And I was like,
Yeah.
that's the first time I was proud of coming from my country because in that moment, when I understood why he was asking me, I told my wife, can you take me a picture when I stand beside him to see who is bigger? And
Right.
for some reason, my because we have the same high, I was bigger, bro. And when I was looking at myself bigger than gold, I was like, wow. So he's a sponsor of a BSM, and I don't have a sponsor, so I'm destined to be something special. That was my thought right there.
That's wow.
And
That's
I
so cool
was
to be
just,
able to have that, like that awareness in that moment to be like, this is it. Like
yeah,
to be able to pick up on that and to be able to feel that proudness right there. That is
yeah, yeah. I was convinced in that moment. So science there, 2011, I started to do shows only here in Florida, Tampa, Orlando. That show in New York. That was a coach from my country helping me. But then I started working with coaches here in the United States. The first coach I get to work here it was just because I will say this,
yep.
man. I pray to God about this. One of the pictures I took at the South State, the owner of the store, so the guy who helped me to come to the United States has a store in Miami. He put a
Oh,
picture in the
cool.
wall of me and Hanny Rambo come to the store to introduce his supplement.
Oh, neat.
And he asked it to the guy, who is this guy in the picture? And he said, oh, is his husband. My wife was there. And Honey gave her card and say, hey, tell him to contact me.
Oh,
When I get the car, I was like, for real?
like what?
So I sent him a message on Facebook and he answered. And then we start working by email. My first show with him it was in 2013. I get I get fourth place in Tampa,
Damn.
and we worked together until
Good.
2016. I learned everything from him a lot, show by show, and I was always closest with him. The first shows were difficult because every time it was critical, it was masked by the language.
Yeah. See that.
So the translation and all of that in terms of medication, how much you should take of this,
Mm-hmm.
how much gram pills, all of
It'd be
those
hard
little
to
stuff.
transfer over
It
and
was
figure
kind
out
of
what he
like,
was talking about, eh?
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
in 2015, 2014, we really nail it and I get third in Sacramento.
What was
In
different from
2015,
what he was doing from than your previous coach? What was like? Was there big differences?
everything. If I tell you, man, whatever I was doing in my country, it was like 10 years behind and different. When I did the New
Oh
York Pro,
wow.
you know what?
Yep.
I had some videos in YouTube drinking distilled like water.
Oh,
And if I see
ouch.
it today, it's so embarrassing because I was so proud of the video. Like, oh, you see this distilled water to not retention water to check. And I was like, now I feel like, well, rookie time.
Right. Yep.
That was so.
Yep.
With Honey, it was perfect in 2014, 2015. It was cool. It was the first time I was in the first call out at pro level and a pro level, man. It was amazing.
Oh, that's
It
wild.
feels like,
What was that
yeah,
like?
man.
Having like must have just been like overwhelming.
First time you know you feel your skin is like plastic. Somehow you feel like you are having a good workout at the gym when you get pump on you don't I wasn't even warming up and I feel like damn, you know, it was tight all over. And the protocol for that was me doing 1 hour of cardio in the morning, 1 hour at night. And Hani was the guy who was always telling me, you should not do the cardio like you walking in the mall. You should do cardio like another workout. I don't care if you do 1 hour or 2 hours. I want you to sweat and make your heart rate go over 150 constantly. And I was like, fuck, I get a polar watch and I start doing
That's
it. And
that's really
eventually,
interesting. I've not heard that from a lot of other coaches.
no, they, because he knows in my case,
Yep.
most people will always say you're gonna lose the size in your legs if you do too much cardio.
Right.
But for me, for some reason, never happened. So the only thing I was afraid of it was not looking as big as it's supposed to be, you know, because as soon as you start feeling flat, you
Yep.
feel like you lost it, but it's
Oh yeah.
just muscle empty, you know.
Feel
I didn't
horrible.
have that maturity at that time, but I was doing it. So when I was around 3 weeks before the first good show we did in 2014 in Sacramento, I was already in good condition, but he wasn't sure because he was on the video and the phone, and he was like, "I don't see that your skin is tight," but it was because I was so flat. He couldn't
Okay.
tell, you
Yep.
know. And one day he said, "I don't know, man, but I feel like the gears are not is not helping you. Something's wrong." No, I was 6 weeks before the show. And then he said, "You know what? We're not gonna do the show. We need to make sure that the gears are working." And since he says that, I was afraid of like, fuck, we're not gonna do the show. If we're not gonna do the show, I'm already signed up the contract. And I
Oh
told
no.
him, man,
Right.
I signed up the contract. I'm gonna be fucking super and still have that. And he said, "Don't worry about it. I will talk to them." So
Awesome.
that day was in the morning, and then I just go to eat all day. And the next morning,
You
bro,
you probably
I
have
was in the
just
middle. I was like, fuck. And I sent pictures to him from the back and everything. And he was, "What the fuck you did?" And I said, "Oh,
I ate.
I just go to eat last night." And he said, "Okay, I want you to start the diet tomorrow again." And then that's the first time I was doing like carb rotation. three
oh
days
yeah.
low carb, 2 days high carb. And since there, he found the kind of like rotation that worked for me, and we go from 260 pounds to 255, 260 pounds to 55, and that's how we get ready for the show in Sacramento. That was the first time. So I went
Oh,
in with 252 pounds around there, and he started making me eat carbohydrates. 2 cup of rice from Tuesday night all the way to Friday night,
did you
and
did you find that
Saturday,
physically
Saturday.
harder or like mentally harder with the ups and downs, or would you have rather have just like a straight?
No, bro, it's hell because every time
Yeah.
you put carbs in, my metabolism speed up. It's normal,
Yeah.
but you're supposed to feel good. I don't know where the ideas come from of you're supposed to feel good when you carve him up.
Oh no, it sucks.
Man, no, it was fucking horrible. And one day I told him, "Can you just do low carb forever?" Because every time you eat, I get tighter and tighter and tighter, you know. So he said that's normal because your metabolic speed up. Don't
Yeah.
worry, your body fat is low, so you gotta eat and you're gonna be full. Of course, the workout was amazing. The days of not too much carbs, but the day he said carbohydrates, I was eating like 1,200 of carbohydrate a day. That is a lot. But when I was to work out the next day, I was like,
You're just dying.
fuck, that's supposed to feel good, man. Come on. So it was hell. And all the clam and shit on top of me, man. I wasn't sleeping. It was
Yeah.
a lot. But one thing that I learned is you when you're really conditioning, you can eat more going into the show. So
Oh yeah.
you know, empty. That was a really good thing. So every time he get an athlete today, since that time, I know if he gets conditioned, he will make it win no matter what, bro. He's good. He's the first coach I know is not afraid to pushing food to the athlete. He made me
That's
eat
nice to hear.
3,000, yeah, 3,000 grams of carbs and getting ready for a show. In 2015, it was me and I took 68 pounds on stage when I went through the competition with Seth. That year, the previous year, I
Yep.
asked him because I was with them when Phil come to the Olympia,
Okay.
and he was mad after the show, and he bring him to the gym to work out and then put it back up. And I asked him why, and he said because well, everybody knows Phil is very emotional, and I didn't want him to because I asked him if every year it was the same protocol to prep Phil, and he said no, it's based on how he responds. And that was the first time I hear somebody talking about that.
Oh,
So I asked him, why you
interesting.
bring him to the gym? So because as soon as he get mad and it's stressful,
Yep.
he spill over because of the hormones. So I bring him to the gym. I beam him up. He get all that water drains out of his body, and then I make him rest and put the food in again. Because at that point he wasn't cutting his water still. And then
Right.
he got
Interesting.
that was the first year Phil was I think it was his best ever. You know, the and I was like, oh, I understand. So for me in 2015, he did almost the same thing. He makes me get 7 days in a low carb diet. It was different, but he knows.
Right.
And I start eating Sunday, the week before the show. I was eating burgers at night.
Yeah. A week before.
Yeah, he told me I need to make you sensitive. So I was eating burgers that day. Then Monday I was eating all rice, and we also find out that potatoes blows my stomach. So he says, whatever you eat that doesn't hurt
Very
your stomach,
common.
eat that
Yeah.
carbohydrate. So it was all rice. It was 6 meals with 1.5 cup of rice from Monday all the way to Friday night. I took half a diazide. Next morning,
Yeah.
man, I was amazing.
Just
Completely amazing. Every bar
peeled.
who saw me in the pre-judging was like, wow. So that year I thought I will win. I was always winning. And then they say, no, the champion is Cedric. And I was like, man, come on. And he was
Just,
mad also. But,
just so yeah.
and after
Was
that,
was there
I
any water
remember,
restriction or water loading involved?
let's say that year, it was the first Arnold Class in Brazil.
Yeah.
Everybody went to Brazil. Cedric won the Arnold here, and he's supposed to compete in Brazil, but he couldn't compete. So they say, "Oh, no, is Arnold guy? You should give it to him because he goes to the Olympia." Manuel did good, so he can do well the next year. So he didn't compete at Olympia because another problem with diuretics, and he
Oh
ended
yeah.
up hospital, and then I get mad for real. I was like, a bitch, you're supposed to do the show, motherfucker. You took it from me, you know.
Right. For
So
sure.
Yeah.
that and then I was really mad, and then I started doing the show, going to the Sacramento, but by that time, Honey already signed up Steve. How do you
Steve
go this
Kuko?
name? What, who do you
Steve
say?
Kuko?
No, no, Steve Kuklo. He already has a Steve Kuklo. It was the other guy, the blonde one.
Oh, um,
He's supposed to be like a Jay Cutler. Um,
Oh.
Justin Compton.
oh, Captain, bro, fuck Captain, man.
Yeah.
He looks amazing. So he says, I'm gonna put Captain in Sacramento, and I will put you in Tampa. But going to the show prep, something happens to him. He get mad at Justin. He get mad at everybody, and
Oh.
he called me. I cannot keep working, Manuel, because one thing, he never charged me
Never?
From
ever.
the beginning.
Nothing.
Holy
Nothing.
shit.
No. We
Wow.
become to be good friends. I learned everything, man. Everything. A lot from him. So 2016, I worked with Matt Jensen, and that's the
Oh,
first time I get to understand how important is chemistry.
Oh, from like coach client perspective.
Yes, because
Yeah.
Matt was into that big
Yeah.
time.
I agree with that for sure. It makes a
Yeah,
huge difference.
he's the first guy who went to pay attention to that big aspect of prep, how the people respond based on their feedback and a chemistry thing, and that makes me open my eyes in that direction. So, like morning protocols, like digestion enzymes, what food works better for you. Don't pay attention to shit. Supplements, caffeine, take it off, things like that. Honey was also good on not using caffeine as a pre-workout because mess the whole shit. But he also explained other aspects that are very important with caffeine, you know. So all of those things, it was good for me to learn from him, and it
So
was good.
for people that are watching, and even myself, I know a bit of about caffeine, but what would he say about it?
It's like, for example, if we are driving in this direction with all our receptors, we don't want nothing to block or nothing to work against that direction. Because if you are like a, you are going this, it will more stressful for your internal nervous system and the whole receptors to go backwards at the same time. Like for example, what happened
Yeah.
with caffeine is that it makes your veins to be flat.
Right. Oh,
But
look at
if you're
that.
supposed to make them wider to be able to transfer more oxygen, more
Mm-hmm.
blood to the muscle, in my head was like, of course, no, it's
Makes
not
sense.
worth it. You know, it makes sense. Whatever. I would say this: just 1% to improve muscle gain. I was into it. Give it to
You
me.
would
I don't
you would
care.
take it.
Or you
Yeah.
should not breathe
yeah, man.
when you go into the gym. Okay, I don't. I will try not to breathe if I will be bigger. That was my
Right. Yeah.
mentality, you know. So that's why everything I was hearing, and since day one, everything I remember everything in my career. You know, everything, every aspect, everything we talked in terms of how to improve your performance. It was good. So that was with Matt Jensen with the Chicago Pro, but that prep was messed up a little bit because the die of Dallas McCarver,
Mm-hmm.
everybody went like, "Oh my God," you know. So Matt felt really bad about it, and you know, he was a little bit confused on whatever he wants to do. So he didn't pay attention enough to most of his athletes. You know, everybody
Yeah.
was
I
complaining.
get it.
But for me, I just was looking for somebody I can work with because I know the potential on me. I didn't point fingers on him. I just say like, "Oh, good, whatever. I don't care. Let's keep working." But then in 2017, I had the idea to, oh, you know what? Because I went to be very good with Pakulski as a friend, and
Yeah.
I was looking at him working with people and learning a lot. I was like, oh, let me call him to see if he can work with me, just because I want a coach who can see me constantly, you know?
Oh,
And he never answered the phone. So that year was September, and I went to the Olympia. And I was talking with somebody at the Olympia, and I turned my head, and it was Milos walking through it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I screamed to him, "Milos!" And he
gross.
turned back, and I was, "Oh, fucking, it's Milos for real, bro." I talk to you later. Let me go over it. So I went to talk to
It's
Milos
like, yeah,
Sarsfield,
good
and
call.
we talked a few times on internet, long time ago, and because he come in one of my pictures on internet. And I
Right.
asked him, "You still prepping people?" And he said, "Of course. Why not?" And I asked him, "Do you think that you can help me?" And he said, "It will be my pleasure." And then I asked him, "Where do you live?" And he said, "Here in California." And I said, "Okay." Then I went to my wife and I asked her, "Can we go to California for like 3 months and stay with Milos, just getting ready for a show?" And she said, "Okay."
Oh, that's so great.
And we start working with him. And the first shows I did with him, it was the Lou Ferrigno Classic
Oh, that's something I've
in
wanted to do.
California.
That looks like a great
Yeah,
show.
that show is really good. They prep nice, but they not doing anymore. But they
No, I
changed the
heard
name.
that.
That is
Yeah,
a California Pro.
I wanted that Hulk
Yeah, they
trophy.
changed the
Bring
man.
the
I wanted that Hulk trophy so bad.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that was awesome. I saw it and it was like, fuck. So man, that prayer with Milos was amazing because Milos is the type of guy that he gives you the diet, but he also breaks down like the fats of nutrients in every meal.
Cool.
So it was like a whole like a big paper of the diet because first meal he breaks down the whole thing. Why? The supplement. What you take
Yeah.
before, what you take between. He was counting the water, everything, man. Every like gram of rice, he was counting too much. But I was following,
Did it feel a little
hundred
overwhelming
percent.
in the beginning?
And some point a little bit because things that you never used to do.
Yeah.
But he made me change in a week. My body just changed in one
Cool.
week. I never drink because he says if you want to take glutamine, you have to
Hmm.
take 30 grams of. If you're gonna drink amino acid, it's this much a day. If you're gonna take um, everything, it was like more than I never drunk before.
Interesting.
So I was like, okay. So, but when I stayed with him, it was the insulin protocols because I did a show and it was just getting ready for the show, no insulin protocol and that thing. But after the show, we did the rebound and we do like a proper off-season protocol. So I was doing the whole thing. He says, "I'm gonna put you." As I used to train these guys in the early 2000s, and I was so excited because I saw all the videos of the Secrets of the Pro,
Yeah.
all the videos of the training sessions, and all the stuff. So we were from training in the morning, 2 meals in, workout. Well, pre-workout 20 IUs of insulin, post workout 20 IUs, go to the house, to the hotel, eat 2, 3 meals, and going back to the gym, pre workout at night, post workout at night. So I was taking 80 IU of insulin every day. And I was
See,
300 pounds with my abs and my glucose create.
see, I want to just point this out to like people that are going to be watching, especially like amateurs and people getting into the sport.
Yeah,
Like
that's very important.
this is the level that it takes to be to be at a pro level. This is like shit that you gotta live, breathe, eat this, and like
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
me from the beginning. It was
right,
like that's what I'm saying. Like everything I asked for in terms of what life I wanted to live, it was that 100% bodybuilding.
right.
And
So
you
like I know a
know,
lot of people coming into the sport. They're just in their first year, and they're like, "I'm getting my pro card. I'm doing this. I'm making it." And I'm like, I'm just like, dude, you can't even eat 3 or 4 meals a day yet. You're
yeah,
not
you know
prepping your
what?
food. Like, what are you
The,
talking about? So
this
this is like
this is
this is what you got to
situation.
put.
Yeah,
Without
yes.
sugarcoating.
Yeah.
The thing is, yeah, they can do it faster. It's not a problem on it. But there is too much in the psychological part. It didn't affect me. It's just because I had the support of my family, my wife. So everything in my life was kind of perfect. Even when I was struggling to make the money or something like that,
Yep.
but I had all the support around me. So my wife was making it better. I was feeling good. After the New York Pro is when I get a sponsor for first time. So it was
Amazing.
happiness in all areas, you know. So
Yeah.
that thing makes it different a little bit. Of
Yeah.
course, I have good genetics, but if I'm even when I was trying my hardest and everything, I wasn't thinking about, oh, I have genetics, so I should not do this. I was always, because of course I get in love with bodybuilding because of Chris, Flex, and Milos, but you know, no one in the early 2000s can be aesthetic and say, oh, Ronnie Coleman videos didn't affect my head. Bro, I was running every day in the fucking gym.
Of course.
I was also getting into the walking into the gym. Since I walk, I was like a lightweight motherfucker every day. You know?
Lightweight. Yeah.
So that was
It's like,
me.
of course.
I was so influenced by him. No, man, amazing.
Yeah. I remember watching him and Branch train, and I was like, fuck, I gotta, like, that is intense. I was like,
Yo, if you saw him working out, you will. For me, there is no other way to train. You know, so whatever who's not training like Ronnie back in the day, I will say you know what you didn't work harder.
yeah.
You know,
That
I
actually,
want to be honest.
I got like a lot of guest questions, like from Instagram.
Cool.
So that was actually one of the questions is from someone asked me about your training style and like how do you train? How did you get those legs? How did you turn yourself into a freak? Like what kind of training did you do?
This is funny, man. The other day I was explaining to a friend of mine. It was so. It's funny just because I was trying to do. I was trying to do the progressive overload, but this is the thing
Okay.
because everything I read it was in English. You know, the progressive overload is one set you do 15 reps.
Right.
Second set you do 12. Then you do 10. Then you do 8. Or if you want to reduce, you do 15, 12, 10, and 6, right? So, because I wasn't good in English, I was doing one set, 15 reps, 12, 10, 8, rest. So every time I do less reps, I was increasing weight. And one, it was like a giant set already.
It's a giant
That's how
set,
I
yeah.
build my body. By mistake, I built it up like that. When I was here in the United States, and for some reason, I pay attention because the only person who sent me a training protocol, it was Matt Jensen. When I'm
Okay.
reading and I read that, oh, this is what it means. This is what it means. What the fuck I was doing? because I understood progressive overload is supposed to be this way. And I was like, so, but you know what? We laugh at this point, but this
Yeah.
is what I learned right now. I can tell you for real, there is not a proper protocol. Now, for me, it's more based on how you adapt to whatever you are doing. Because if we try to fit into numbers of steps or reps, we will always hold ourselves back. That's the conclusion I
Oh,
went to, you know?
yep, I love that. I think I'm right with you.
You already know because it's like, okay, this is the reference, but you don't have to focus anymore on like, oh, I did 3 sets of that. No, if you're still moving, you should go until you feel like it's a really working set. So for me now to be able to explain to you amateur guys, it's just like don't focus on a PR doing just one rep because bodybuilding is not based on that.
Yep.
Bodybuilding is just based on how much effort the muscle have to do to adapt to whatever you are putting into it. And that's how you go through the protocol, but then you find out your own workout style, your own intensity. Because I did the FST7 with Hani, and if you see the concept is just push as much blood to you can to the muscle. Because at the end of the day, when you end the workout, that blood in the area will bring more nutrients and you grow. So
Pretty
one thing
much,
on
yeah.
my own, even when somebody say you should train biceps by himself or the days that you do chest because it's tighter because you do this, this is on personal thing. When
Sure.
I built my leg training hamstring and quads at the same time. I build my arms training bicep and tricep at the same time. One exercise for bicep, one for tricep. But when I get to work with Honey and understand that the more blood that you bring to the area, the better. I went to understand that if I always try my arm at the same time, the blood was already there in both sides.
Right.
So it was a better concept in my own thinking like that. And just because I have good ones, it was worth it, you know? So most people maybe think like they should know, but just focus on your body and see how it reacts. Whatever you feel is good, keep it. Don't change it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of issue with a lot of people where they will train and they want to keep mixing it up and do something different every week or do something, always looking
Yeah.
for a new
I
program
don't
or
think
looking for the new and best thing. But like they're even
yeah,
if it works, they'll
they
switch it out and take it away and maybe not do it for a couple of weeks down the road or whatever, and they're missing out.
yeah. I would
The
say
muscle crap.
What's that? Sorry, Alex.
It's all that shocking the muscle crap. You got to shock the muscles.
Oh yeah, switch it up,
That's
make
why
it
I'd like
different.
to do a complete
yeah, that's
different
what they
routine
say.
every week instead of just training heavier and sticking to the exercises that work.
Yeah,
Which
but
shock the
this is
muscles
the
too.
advice. Yes. Oh my God, it's funny, but it's like putting too much information to work at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why most of the time you don't see any results. I always get questioning about my back and my chest, but it was because following training heavy, I couldn't engage the muscles properly, and that's what it was holding me back. And when I start backing up on weights, is when I start looking more like muscle work, and that is what makes me understand by practice
Yep.
that I was doing it wrong.
So you would
Because
like
most of
you
the
would
time somebody will say something, but if you don't feel it, it's like okay, I don't understand.
you would train heavy, but you wouldn't have the connection to it. So you had to back off a little
Exactly.
bit.
a lot from 5 plays and bench press to 2.5, and then I found out that the barbell wasn't helping me, so I switched it to old times dumbbells,
Hell yeah.
and
That damn
that's when I got the
barbell. People get
figure.
stuck on that barbell and they think it's like the best thing ever.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm seeing these kids today at the gym,
Oh.
and they're, I don't know, but it's like inevitable, but it's a lot of ego
Yeah.
lifting around. It's difficult to control for some reason. Let's say testosterone, competition, the willing to do things. I think the guys need a little more orientation.
Oh yeah. They need to
It's
find
like,
that book you're reading.
oh, of course, yeah, man.
Right?
Those books
So
from year were gold. My
they
mom still
got
have them.
like for example, like when I was coming up and when I was first starting, I didn't have that book. I didn't the internet wasn't really the thing. I was literally just I don't know, just doing what strangers in the gym were doing. And I was just trying to follow them around.
Yeah,
And I wasted a lot of
for me,
time. So
yeah.
glad that you actually found something to help you progress quicker.
I don't know that, I don't know why, or like I was. I mean, maybe just because I couldn't go to a proper gym, and then I have to pay attention to whatever it was getting me closer to that, and maybe because of that, I pay attention to those magazines, to those
Yeah.
books. So sometimes I get guys at the gym and I say, bro, if you understand that this exercise like flying and the crossover is to isolate the muscle, why do you want to use the whole rack in here? Doesn't make sense, bro. But yeah, for real. So,
Oh yeah.
and they listen a little bit because of my apparent, but then I try to make them to understand the concept. Like, just find yourself trying to feel the movement, the contractions, feel your body, and let me know what you think you should keep doing. And then when they feel the different, they feel like, oh, should I do it this way? And I say, yeah, because you're not trying to be strong. You're trying to build an structure. That's where it comes from. Oh, but why those guys didn't say, well, once you masterize the movement, you can focus on build your strength. That it will happen by itself at the same time because if you're doing it right. But if you don't, if you get hurt, bro,
Yeah.
it will feel really bad. So it's like, okay, and it's I just try not to tell them that they're doing something wrong. I just try to tell
No.
them like, oh, let me help you to you can have more gains, and they were like,
Oh
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. They're like, oh
you
yeah.
know. So
Yeah. You can't come in
you
and
gotta know
discourage
how to
them.
talk to them to make them pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So people
once you
like,
say you're doing it wrong, they look at you like, oh, I know what I'm doing, because they steal the ego. Like it's another male. You know what?
oh,
It's in
it's
the
a,
wild. That no one will tell me what to do. I know. And if
it's
they are
yeah.
those that he says like, oh, I'm natural, I'm not taking shit like you.
Like
Okay,
yeah.
it's never get up.
It's like yeah. That doesn't mean anything when it comes down to training and connecting with the muscle.
Yeah. So now to break down a little bit about my experience with Milos, the giant sets, I did it for month and a half every day. And even though with the gears and the insulin and stuff, you never catabolize if you are taking gears. The only thing it happens is that your internal nerve system doesn't rest.
Ah
So
yeah.
because it's
Yep.
not rest, your cortisol is so high that you never reach that hardest look. So when I understand that part of the chemistry that is in a reaction of your body, is when I get to understand that there is no insulin, There is no growth hormone that makes your skin thicker. There is nothing, bro, that makes no one of the gears, no one of the anabolics we use make your stomach bigger or make your skin thicker. None of that. Nothing. It's based on how we use them and how much we rest.
Rest.
Because if
Yeah.
you have experience, you can tell that when you rest the most your legs before the show, like a whole week, you
Oh.
can be ready getting for the show for 2 weeks and you will never see your legs as hard as possible because of the stress doing the cardio, doing the workout, standing all day, working, stuff like that. But when you rest for a week before the show, like let's say you don't work out for like 7 days straight, and you not do cardio at all because you're in a good condition, then your legs is what it looks the hardest. When I get that,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and let's talk about different aspects of being a beginner and being an experienced competitor guy.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah.
Maturity of the
Let's
muscle.
get right into the like peak week and like the day of the show and everything. We can.
Yeah, so different aspects is like, let's say you're 20 weeks out going into the show. First 4 weeks, your body's not gonna be doing too much in terms of changing. You're just gonna feel like, oh, watery here, maybe you're not that full, trying to take the shit out of your body. But then you get
That's where Alex is
into
right now.
like 16 weeks. Yeah, fuck. 16 weeks out to the show. And the best we did one time was coming down from 800 grams of carbohydrate, just taking 50 every 2 weeks. 50
Just
every two
slight
weeks.
bit
50
down.
every
Yeah.
2 weeks. And my body, yeah, was adapting little by little. And then we start doing like a very low carb on Monday to a very, very high on Saturday. So adding carbohydrate during the days. And then I remember the best it worked for me was
All right.
no carbohydrate and leg days,
Oh, interesting.
but a lot of carbohydrate in an upper body days. Why? Because
Yeah.
Hani realized that the condition and the amount of the size and on my legs, whatever I was eating, they will suck it out.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if I do cardio and then I eat carbohydrate, my legs gonna suck the carbs in. One thing that he was so smart, it was the Manuel, I need to bring your chest up. This is what we're gonna do.
Right. Let's. What do you do?
We're gonna try and chest on Monday. We're gonna try and chest on Monday, but by Wednesday, the leg day, before you start working out your legs, you're gonna pump your chest. So I want you to carry your blood in your chest, so it doesn't go straight to your legs. So the nutrients are in your chest, so it makes it grow. And that was the best we did to go to the 2015 in California, and we did second. My chest was looking really big, and my upper body, my leg was there because of the mobility. Yeah,
Oh,
those little things that I
that's
learned from him, man. He was super smart, man. He was smart.
and that really affected
I
you
don't
that much. I
hear
mean, that's
other coaches. Yeah, that really works good. There is
cool.
so
Yeah.
much that, that you apply to this sport. You
So, for
know,
example,
if you already have enough,
if someone else is
say it.
struggling with a body part, would you recommend them trying to do that? Like, say they're struggling with arms or shoulders, get a pump
Yeah,
up before doing some other, like,
because one thing that we know for a fact is this: if you train chest and tricep today, it will take at least 36 hours to recover, right?
yep, that's pretty standard.
So that means that you lost the pump already because if you try, we are in off season. You hit a good workout today in your chest and triceps. So next day you wanna feel your chest is carrying like, oh, it's heavy, it feels good.
Yeah.
That means fullness, you know. But if you try and back, you already feel like this. The fullness here goes away. So when you're gonna do on Wednesday leg day, if you are good legs, as soon as you hit legs, your upper body will feel completely empty. So
I've
what you should
experienced that.
do,
Yes, I've totally have.
of course,
Where you
what you
train
should
legs, then
do,
you go to pose after like leg day, and you just look like a
you don't want
blanket.
to pose
You look
upper
like
body.
no,
That's
you
true. That's true.
yeah, you look horrible.
All
Exactly.
of the
So his
legs, of course.
mentality was so
Yeah,
good on that that he was like, okay, so the day before the leg day, you can, let's say, if you're not fat, you can do some kind of like a refeed. Next day, you pump up the muscle that you are lacking to make the muscle get full of blood, and then you go through the leg workout. That
like
was
it.
what I was doing. And it worked perfect because that's how I hold the size in my upper body.
Cool. Yep, makes sense.
And it will work in any other area the same way. It works. I sometimes apply it to my coach, to my clients, and it's, of course, it's based on how they feel. You notice immediately that they tell you like, "Oh, I feel good. I still feel pump in my chest," and that is something that it helps. It's just not like a full workout. It's just pump,
Yeah,
pump,
would you get
pump.
like to do like
Something that,
a couple sets of incline press or something?
yeah, one exercise, 4, 6 sets, and that's it. Just make sure that it's full and go.
But not
Cool.
So
necessarily heavy.
not necessarily heavy. Oh, no, exactly.
Yeah.
So the other things I found out in terms of how you gotta manage cortisol levels and stress is that after I understood that I'm not gonna lose this size, I start to understand that, oh, I can work out 2 days and 1 day off, 100%.
Is that your normal schedule, or is that what you work, or is that
It was my
what was your
normal
schedule
schedule.
like?
Right now is 2 days on, 1 day off, but still doing cardio on the day off. When I was getting
Okay.
ready for the show, I was just absolutely off on the day off. No cardio, nothing.
Yeah, nice. And you would
And
still do your two
it's,
days on, two one off.
yeah, yes. I still, and it's fun. I mean, it's like how your body respond depends on the workout because now I'm going a little more aggressive in the workouts. It's like
Yeah.
I've already told you, not focus anymore on the volume that I'm doing. It's just how is my protocol today to a proper workout. Let's say I will do shoulders.
Right.
I get to the gym, I warm up, I make sure that stretch is full range of motion and all of that thing, and then go from real delt work, laterals, and forward head of the shoulder, laterals, elevations, any variation of like a dumbbells raise and stuff like that, and then I do the press, like shoulder military press and all of that thing. But I try to push with a good form focus, and then when it becomes to do working set, I start pushing between 10 to 15 reps by myself. And
Right.
if I don't have a partner that it will makes me go through failure, what I do is I back up on weight and I keep doing it until I cannot move.
That's
That's the way that.
awesome.
Yes. So most of the time you want to find yourself that there is no limit in the amount of reps you can do, and you're not gonna feel like, when you are home and you feel like it is something that is real. You
Oh
know
yeah.
that you're in the house and you say, "Oh fuck, I was a pussy today. I should have finished."
Yeah.
So I deal with that a lot. So today is just I go, I spend my time, and I don't care. Maybe I will say like, "Oh, I'm supposed to do more weight," but the way I feel doing less, I feel that the muscle works harder.
True. Okay.
So now I'm trying to go into the classic physique
Oh,
competition in Tampa this year.
classic, eh? What
Yeah.
one sec,
Let me
Alex.
just talk about why I decided to do that.
Or what
And
did you
after
say,
the
Alex? First.
pandemic,
No, that was exactly my question when we see him on stage again. So if you do classic, how tall are you and what would your weight cutoff be?
I'm 6'1". I should be around 240
Oh,
pounds on the way in. And I want to talk about this because
Yeah,
you're gonna
man. Like
like it.
this is exciting news.
Yeah. And I would like to take advantage of this point of my maturity and my muscle condition, because I like to compete and I'm really want to challenge myself. And this is what I want to do. I learned by experience that during my career going up lifting heavy,
Yep.
I crunch all my joints. I make it tight, very restricted on my mobility.
Yeah, I kind of
So
feel
after
that.
the after the pandemic, I got hurt in my shoulder and I broke the tendon because of a car accident. I recovered. I get through the surgery and all of that thing a year and a half. But when I started getting ready to compete again, I
Right.
noticed that my range of motion was shifted, my pelvis was shifted, and I feel bad because the biomechanic was wrong. It was always out of shape. But I ended up competing in the Masters over 40 because I'm 41 today. And the good thing it was that I had the best condition of my career. So all the judges were like, "Oh my God, you hit your condition better." But I was at 240 pounds. My last show was at 260 before
Christ.
the
Yeah.
pandemic. So what happened is that I lost, let's say, 30 pounds of muscle, 25 pounds of muscle. It's okay. But it's never been hard for me to gain weight. The thing is that I just wanted to make sure I can perform, compete again.
Right.
So after the show was on Saturday. Monday, I was on 260, but I was in condition still. And that made me think I can compete in classic and also I can do open too. So being ambitious is what I really want to do. I can compete in Tampa and then 2, 3 weeks later I can do another show in the open class.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is why I'm doing this. But during the whole this year, I have been progressing from not having too much mobility to be able to almost hit and split in the floor.
Can I pull something up here for a second?
Yes.
Let's say this here. Is this what you were talking about
Yeah. hundred
with the
percent that.
shoulder? Yeah. So this is here, like, is where the injury happened.
Yes. That was
Cause
horrible, man.
oh, so you got it repaired. What happened? You had surgery or
Attach it to the bone.
Okay, like those tendons there got reattached.
Yes.
Oh,
So those little things is the nerve, and I learned a lot about it because it doesn't die, never die. The thing
right.
is that it get numb and then doesn't let you muscle to perform this one thing, and you get like a spasm. It is this is very important to say in this podcast, and you will be happy to hear about this because
Yeah,
you know what's happening with Big Ramy and the lower back.
with his lower, yeah,
He
with
got
like
like a
the
fat person.
spot.
For some reason, he fucked up their physique, right?
Yeah, there's like his lats are activating properly, and is like something to do with his spine, like a spinal compression.
It's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is that since he was working, I think it was 2016, he was working with Chris Aceto, who was doing a lot of cardio, and he, in one point, he says that his plantar and his foot was hurting him. He was at 350 pounds.
Jesus, good
Yeah,
God.
so, and I get to understand this because it happens to me. Those muscles coming out of the food go through the plantar, get sore, and don't do the right flexion. But those muscles affect the hamstring, the calf, the hamstring, the lower back, and then it creates an spasm in the lumbar. And then the connection in the lumbar to the dorsal doesn't work properly. So no mobility in the lower back in the hip flexors. Just because we still look big, we don't realize that there is a problem.
Right, and there is other imbalances or weaknesses. And,
Exactly, 100%.
yeah,
If it will affect the tricep, man, everything I went through, it was crazy because I developed scar tissues in my calf, and my hamstring, and my hip flexors, and my abs, and my lower back, all the way to my traps, my triceps, and my forearms. When I found out what it was, I started stretching and working in soft tissue. And then I started stretching and decompress my whole body and my whole joints. The thing is that your foot works as a 3 point, right?
right.
So, and when it's flat, absolutely flat, sometimes it collapses, right? And if it collapses, like the base of the building,
Like your
everything
fallen
goes through there.
arches.
Exactly. So my joints start to crunch it because the thickness of the muscles in my hamstrings and in my quad, they start making the muscle shorten, and that makes the bone in the tibialis and in the femur to be closer, and that was
Oh, it's
making me feel
pulling everything.
some knee
Okay.
pain. So my quad tear and the leg started looking weird to me in the mirror, and I wanted to find out what the fuck it was that.
Yeah.
So my best body part in my body, I will lose them. I don't want to do that. So I start looking closely, I start reading, I start watching videos of anatomy shit and stuff like that. And then I realized that, oh, I should start doing stretching. And since I started stretching, I found to engage the muscle again. And as soon as I engage it and I stretch it, I get pump. What it means that it was numb and the muscle flow. As soon as I stretch it, the blood start going in and it got pumped. As soon as
Just
it got
filled right
pumped,
back up. It's like you broke a dam that was
the
holding
muscle
everything back.
exactly. So
Right.
what I have been doing all of this time is trying to feed the whole thing, and then I start to align my body. I start to get a pump, and I start to have my whole structure back to normal. And my mentality is, if it works at the beginning, the only thing I have to make sure is to recover complete range of motion and flexibility to be able to perform the exercise properly because the size is still here. The
Right.
size that I put 10 years ago, still here. But we know that the muscle tissue is it reconstitutes itself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It can deteriorate itself, but it can become to life itself. The only thing we need to know is how to make it happen, and it's chemistry. And this is when everything combined is start to work together in an other different aspect. What I need to do is just soft the tissue, break down the scar tissue, stretch the muscle, and let the muscle be nutrient with the blood flow, with the oxygen, with all of these amino acids that we already know that repair the tissue because it never been broken. It's just not being activated by
Interesting.
proper way. So when I give my joints more room to move, I also understood that your tendons can be even more flexible because you know that those people who can do contortion,
Yeah.
it's not like they weird. It's just that they have the ability to do this. But if you practice and you cultivate that ability, you can keep it. And if
Right.
just because I was flexible when I started this career, and I can make it happen again.
Right.
And I've been working on that, and that will be what I will share with the people when they comes to me and say, "Hey, Manu, how did you fix that thing in your body?" Okay, this is what I apply, and everybody will say, "Well, that's exactly what we are not doing," and I know because I wasn't doing it
I
too.
don't. Yeah, I
Nobody
don't do
advised
it.
me to stretch like a ballerina, no one, and it has to be there because now my concept is this: when we start working out, as soon as we get in size, the muscle gets shortened. But
Yes.
what we not practice is that you already know the rotator cuff muscle. They are very little, right?
Very.
So if the muscle in the pec gets sore, imagine those little ones. They go sore and they go shortened. So your joint just crunch down itself. But if you start working on mobility before and after the workout, you will keep it loose so the next day you can be able to move properly.
So, could you
It
give
makes
us
sense
like,
to you?
yeah, 100%. So, could you give us like a little breakdown about like how you, what you did for stretching for like your feet, for the rotator cuff? Like maybe just like a couple,
Okay.
or are they just basic things like probably everyone might already know?
The only thing you need to focus is, and I don't know if you can get this, but it's like active stretching. You know, when you go to the gym and you are
Yeah.
doing chest and you are kind of cold, you start like you not do an entire range of motion because you cold. But once
Yeah.
you are warm up, you can full stretch and full contract. That means active stretching because the antagonist muscle stabilize the joint and then you can stretch the other one complete and then go back to normal, right? So
Yeah.
what I start doing it is I started stretching my arm, and then in the full contract and the full stretching, I start to contract the muscles and I start rotation because the rotation goes through the muscles. So what I'm trying to do is do the supraspinatus stretching and then the pec minor stretching, and then start to move my arm as much as I can but kind of tight at the same time, you know, and that keep the joint safe of not breaking down or go out of the base, you
Yes.
know, you get it.
Yeah, I think so.
So that is what I have been doing, and it been helping me a lot, bro. It's like do you receive massage, right? But
Yeah, that's
if
definitely.
you receive massage from somebody who never done exercise, the guy know where to go from the book. But if you go to school and then you apply whatever you learn in the school, but you already know the body different because you received massage before, you know how
Hmm.
it's supposed to feel. but you also know how it's supposed to be done. And somebody like you, it's a totally different mentality in terms of knowledge, because
100%.
you are ahead of the
Definitely,
other
yeah.
guy because you do sport. You
Yeah, I get
understand
that
the
for
body
sure.
from
Yeah.
inside out.
Yep.
You already know, right? You already get it. So that's what I have been trying to put together to be able to somehow help other people, because there is people who retire just because they don't know what's going on. And if they ask to a coach, the coach gonna see is gonna say like, "Well, bro, everybody got broken."
Everyone's sore. Everyone has injuries. It's a part of the game. You hear that all the time.
That's the answer.
Not
But if you don't
necessarily,
want to give
or
up,
at least it
No,
you
not
should
will
be.
necessarily,
wonder how
but
to
I hear
fix
it a
it.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
people are just, yeah.
So for me, this is what has been saving my life, my ability not to say, okay, I don't compete anymore. I don't gonna stop.
That's, man, that's awesome. That's gold right there. I hope.
But the good
Yeah.
thing is
So,
that to be able to support this, I have to be on stage and you show it,
Hmm.
because everybody saw my last show, and as a master, I was skinny and my bag wasn't there, and people is like you now have the same package anymore, no
Right.
matter
You hear
what you
that?
do.
Yeah.
But, but I'm telling you, thanks God, brother, I found the secret. The secret now. I found the reason, and now it's some kind of secret, but I don't want to keep it. I just want to share it with everybody. But the only way I found to be able to make people to believe it and put it on practice is showing them
Do it yourself,
on
and then
stage.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah. So and this is my whole, let's say, overcoming after being broken.
yeah. Against all odds, definitely.
Man, it's crazy when you, because by the time I get hurt by the car in an accident, I was thinking like I still unbeatable, in your
yeah.
head as
I was
an
just gonna ask
athlete.
what went through your mind during the recovery period. Like if you were in the hospital, were you really just like this is it, or you were like this is the beginning.
A lot of frustration first at all,
Oh,
a
hell
lot
yeah.
of
I can only
desperation, a
imagine,
lot of
man.
desperation. Really, I was sad. I was thinking two really bad things. My wife was a little like, you still have a life,
Yeah.
but I was so engaged with that image of me that I was super sad. It was like somebody takes the ability for me to do what I love, and in my life is not gonna be the same anymore. And then I was afraid. I was afraid to people looking at me. I was afraid of not being able to look bigger as a bodybuilder.
Right.
Now I have to be normal,
Yeah, we
skinny,
don't
stuff
want to
like
be.
that.
Oh man, the thought of being normal it makes you sick.
Yeah,
You're
It's
still
bro.
with mutants,
So
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. They are awesome,
So
bro.
Jim must have been a big help during that time, I would assume.
Yeah,
yeah. The whole mutant squad probably has had your back through this whole situation too.
yes, yeah. No, they show us a good partners, man, and it was some kind of like, the only thing it makes me feel that lost at that point.
Right.
And eventually, I remember after the surgery, I was having a dream, and it was
What?
me telling me that it's okay, just make sure it heals properly, and then you start over. and I wake
Interesting.
up,
Yeah.
and like the insecurity went away, and start working out. I start feeling good, and I went to talk to somebody to prep me, and the guy was okay. Let's work out. But today, I'm telling you, today, earlier today, is when I understood the psychology work that he did on me in terms of training me. He wasn't like a no mercy. He wasn't saying, "Oh, we're gonna do 10 with this arm with less weight
Right.
to match up the other, to match up the friend." Every time I was working out with him, it was like both arms, go, both arms, same way, both arms, same way, back, pull up, pull down, everything. You know that when you think about something, it becomes to be a reality.
Thoughts become
But
things.
if you act like
Yeah.
it's exactly, if you act like
One
it's
of Kai
not
Green's
there,
sayings.
yes.
Rody
But
always
if
used
you
to say,
act
"Where
like
the mind goes, the body will follow."
Good too.
exactly, so he makes me work as I was normal, and in some point after 6 weeks, and I like to talk about this because it's the only time I have a coach training me physically in the physique in the gym for 6 months straight. It
Oh
was
wow. Okay.
different to working out with Milo, you know, because this guy was. It's like when you're training and you're faking that it's too heavy and you stop just because you not want to push. This guy know all of this trick. This guy
he
was
knew.
like, I know you can steal, and he was helping me in different ways. And let's say I was doing press like this, full range of motion, but when I couldn't do anymore because it wasn't uneven, because maybe I have more endurance in this part than in this part. So he was just making me do short reps,
Ah.
the
Okay.
muscles still working. So everything worked. Everything was so good at the end of the prep that it's like I was perfect, but
Yep.
smaller. The only thing it bothers me, I was small because I saw guys on stage in the pro and in the open class, and I was like, "Fuck." The only
Oh.
thing it was that
Right.
the size. So now that I'm working on all of this different stuff, I'm getting the shape of the muscle, the fullness of the muscle, the roundness, and I'm very excited about compete again. Very, very, very
Oh,
excited,
that's
and it would
so
be
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
That's why I was so excited when you told me about the podcast because I was like, "Oh my god, I can do it before I do the show."
Hell
So by the
yeah.
time I do the show, we're gonna have this that it will support the whole thing.
Oh yeah. It's gonna
So
be,
what
man. It's
question we
I'm
have in
so excited now to hear this. This is awesome.
there? It's big, good, man.
Yeah.
What
This is.
question we have in?
I don't know. Like that's. I think Alex. I think his phone died. I think he disappeared.
Oh,
But that's okay.
yeah.
We are coming up onto the 2 hour mark.
Okay. So, man,
But
honestly, I would like to be able to do this a little more often because the youngest guys are trying to do something and they are losing the concept. For me, bodybuilding is more about creating an image based on like using your ways to shape the muscle and the physique that you already have. It's not trying
yeah,
to be strong. Every
we s-
bodybuilder who practice with the right concept will become stronger no matter what.
oh 100%. We see that all the time in the gym. with people just, like I said, it's just the ego, right? The ego is just pushing what's pushing a lot of people, and either A, causing injuries, or B, not getting the results that they want. And it's
The
just,
injury is the ugliest thing I see, and I feel like it's not reason for it, but whatever. And other thing that I don't like to see too much at the gym is the heat thrust with like 7 plays. I don't
oh
know
my
why people's doing this.
God. See, yeah. Oh, good grief. It's like, that's everywhere. Yeah.
It's crazy
It's,
because I will
it's
tell
unnecessary.
you never saw Dexter Jackson doing a PR in a deadlift.
No, God, no.
And he lasts the longest in this
Yep.
sport.
And who was it? Jay says he's never squatted anything really over 3 plates.
Yes. He
So,
didn't like
like,
it.
yeah,
There is
it's
a
not
video of him doing 4 plays in the Smith machine.
right. Yeah, that's and it's like that
I
was it for
think I
him. He
did
was
5. I did 5 behind the neck, but the day I did 6, I did like 8 reps.
well, you're
Very
a
good
little
control
different.
and
Your
everything.
legs are a little different than most people. So, but
But when I put the weight back,
yep,
that year I felt that for real something was crushing me, and I say I never do it again. Never did it again, bro. Never.
good.
More than
You
5 plays
you
in
listened
the
to your
bar.
yeah.
No,
You listened.
it was
That's very
crazy.
smart.
It was like yeah, and well, if I will tell these guys to do something that really help them
Yeah, yeah.
is a good foundation, or maybe they can still start right now is calisthenics. I saw a documentary that it called Physical 100, and that one opens my mind even more in terms of the ability of the body to be able to adapt to all the sports, because calisthenics will make you to learn how to stabilize all your muscles at the same time.
Ah, yeah.
So when you become to do this, you can carry your own weight in any direction, and that
That would
makes you
help a
really
lot with
strong.
that would help with so much with injury prevention.
Yeah, stability first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I will put some videos online, man, that I have been done, but I will ask you something very like I'm very perfectionist when I'm training. And that's
Uh,
why I realized I was so fucked up after the surgery.
right. How bad it was.
And I become to develop the ability of squat with my eyes closed. 100%. Just feel the movement because we have been squatting since we are babies.
That's one of the first things. Yep. And the range of motion
And,
when we were
and that,
babies and kids were
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So if
Yep.
we cultivate that mobility, we can still doing it easily when we are older. And that was something that I was like, oh, okay, let me just try. Focus more on how it feels instead of how heavy it can be. So in my turn, I start making one action with an intention to make it feel and work without intention, like unconscious. So every time I'm squatting, I try to activate as much as possible my muscles that stabilize and control equilibrium by closing my eyes. So that increase my ability to engage with all body parts in that movement.
Amazing.
So
Yep. It's like I when I train with some of my clients, I always say move the weight with intention, not move the weight, not just do it. Do it for a purpose and with intention of focusing, right?
yes, and it works better. They got more results and better like frustration because They
This
come,
is
some of them, it's like, oh, I cannot engage, I cannot move the weight, I feel bad, I feel weak. Man, it's more psychological than what people think. It's so
oh
amazing. This
goodness,
sport is
it's
beautiful, man.
it really is.
This sport is beautiful. But other thing that I would say is just because we spend so much time and we already know what exactly we are talking about, some young guys, even us back in the day, will say, "You bitch, just because you retired or just because you got broken, now you will advise me about living life."
No, yeah,
That's why I
no,
want to compete and be there and say, "Okay, this is how I fucked
oh,
up my physique, but this is how I fixed it, and it's
right,
still working." You know, just because I want to be nice and share something that really helps community. You know, because
100%, yeah,
even when my career was so good at the beginning, I was so desperate for knowledge. You know,
yeah,
I'm already told you the difference between how I used to be in my country with how it was when I came to US. It was without lying, bro. It was 10 years behind
just
in information.
so, yeah,
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
yeah, that's so neat though. That's so interesting, and like,
Yes. But man, this sport give everything I have to me.
yeah, yeah, and I'm so happy that you found that. That's like a curse and a blessing together, right?
Yeah.
Without
How long you been in the sport?
me, I started competing in 2011.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
you
so a
competing
little.
here or
It was all through Canada,
okay.
and then I did. I just did Arnold's this year down in Columbus.
Nice. How it was?
I came second in my weight class, so I would.
Oh, you still
I
got
Yeah, man. I literally went there just to go have fun and not. I was like, I don't know. I'll just go and do it and see what happens.
okay.
But
Let's talk
then,
about how it feels or how it works to prepare, not focus on winning. Do you find out that it works better that way?
focus on what? Sorry.
Focus on competing just to have fun instead of focus on competing to win.
Oh, uh, personally for me, competing to win, like, is 100% different than focusing just to have fun on the show or just to do it. Like the mentality. There's like the little switch that's that slightly flicks on, and the drive I think is a little bit more intense. And that
Okay, in terms of the drive and the intensity, let's say you wasn't pushing yourselves that much, but how much results you have in this prep compared that when you really push crazy.
right. Um, I think honestly, I've trained harder for other smaller shows, and I've wasn't as good.
You see, the stress part play
Yeah,
a big role, right? And
yeah,
that is what we need to learn how to manage, but from the psychological part.
yeah, 100%. So I was stressed a little bit going into the Arnold's just because hey, it was the Arnold's and like this was like a dream. This was one of my life dreams, and I wanted to do good. I didn't
Yeah.
want to embarrass myself, but it also was just like I don't know what the competition is going to be like. I'm just going to have fun with it and just enjoy it.
And it was
So
better. That's
so
that's my
that
point.
yeah, that mentality there was it was fun. The whole process was fun. Besides going into other shows where I would literally kick my ass over and over again with cardio and with like just overtraining for sure, trying to be
Yeah.
better. And then
Yeah, when
in
I
the end
when
come out
we
worse. It was like,
the
what the hell did I
killer,
do?
bro.
It looked
And my point is one thing that I can tell it was always killing a little bit. It was the sense of wondering if it's right what we are doing
yeah, always. But we do we always wonder? Or if
all
like
the
if
time from the beginning
depending
all
on your
the way to the
coach,
end.
right? Depending on your coach, and we're like, if you're
Yeah,
always second guessing yourself or like people around you, or you have like you have your coach, then you have all these other people around you telling you different things, and it just fucks you all up. You're just like,
yeah, yeah. I got a coach. This last one, he told me, "Hey, I want you to forget everything you already learned and just
right,
listen to me." And I was okay. Thanks God I did that commitment in my head before going to talk to him. So everything he says, it was cool, it was nice, it was just easy to follow. But one thing that I noticed it was
yeah,
how powerful is the effects of anti-estrogens in our head.
in our head.
Because I used to dream three different ones getting ready for a show, but with
Mm-hmm.
him, I was just taking one. And he says, the way you feel or the way you look, we will decide if it's needed to switch it or add something else. And we ended up just using Arimidex the whole way.
Oh, awesome.
And I can tell that before it was really bad, all the combination, because it was Arimidex, 1 milligram every day. It was letrozole, one pill every other day, and it was like
Like
um,
Nova.
Nolvadex,
Yeah.
So one thing that I realized is the chemistry and the way that it affects us.
Oh, that probably you probably
Because
felt
most
really
of the
weird
time,
on
the
that.
coaches, no, I was thinking like, hey, I gotta get ready the pills, and he was like, let me just see how you've been reacting. We will see. We will see. And I ended up just by the end of the prayer, I was just taking uh, 2 weeks before, I was taking the Halo, of course,
Yeah, yeah,
Arimidex. I was taking Primobolan pills and Anadrol to hold the fullness.
right.
So the other oils I stopped at 2 weeks exactly
Two
before the show.
2 weeks out.
No more
Interesting.
injections to
Okay.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know why when you flat and you
Yeah.
do injections of and the glue, let's say
Doesn't
you're
really
taking
takes
two
a while to go
cc or three
away.
cc of oil.
Yeah.
So you do injection, and just because you're flat, it doesn't go too much inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you muscle is full of carbs, the inflammation is gonna be big. That's what I found out.
Makes sense.
So it makes more work on the pills. The only thing it was finally using was primobolan, propionate, and mastering
Right.
every day,
Were you
all the
doing
way until.
micro dosing, or were you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know that um, parabolan and masteron have like around 6 to 12 weeks to 12 hours that last in your body.
Yeah.
So this guy, smart, he says, let's use this as a medication the same way. So you shot, by the time it's out, you shot again.
Yeah. You're. It's
And
all
that's how
very
we were working. And
particular.
it gives
Yeah.
you a really nice look. Yeah, it gives you a really nice look in terms of harden in the muscle. Like the skin was like plastic and all of that stuff. But it was just 3 weeks before the show. Before that, it was just sustanon and EQ, trying to hold the size of the muscle, the fullness and all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Just simple.
Yes. Oh, pills here and there, but it was very simple. Right now, going to this Tampa show, I will start my diet on next week. I will just enjoy the process the way I told you already. Try not to
Yes.
be stressful. Just let my body
Yeah.
respond the way it goes with the whole thing. And if there is a moment where I have to push, based on how receptors can be fresh, whatever I put in, it will react properly. So the advantage I have is the advantage I have is maturity and just the size I have been carrying for a little while.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Cool.
So that will be my show this year in Tampa.
That's super
I'm very
exciting.
ambitious with everything I've been doing. So let's see, man. Where do you live?
We're over. I'm over here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in Canada. So on the east coast of Canada.
Wow. Yeah. I
So
went to Toronto
right. So we're
one
if
time.
Toronto, you go east, and for
Okay.
another like 4 or 5 hour plane ride. So
Wow.
and then the guy
Okay.
Alex that was here, he's in Medicine Hat, Alberta. So he's on the west side of Toronto.
Wow. That's amazing.
And he's from Germany, and he's gonna be, yeah. So he's here, living here, competing right now.
Oh wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
So you guys doing this podcast for a little while?
yeah. Well, we've been doing it for a couple months now, and yeah, man, dude, it's taken off. It's going really good. We've you're with Mutant. I am also with Mutant.
Yes,
So
that's cool, man. That company is really. When I
yeah,
signed with them, it was after the 2014 in Sacramento in California. I performed and I walked down of the show. Next morning, they come to me and say, "Hey, you would like to work but for us?" And that was amazing, man. It was amazing that
yeah,
day.
dude, you're one of the originals, right? You're like almost there as long as Ron.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's
All of those guys, man, were amazing. They first.
that's yeah. They treat us really well.
They come. They come to Orlando now in July. Or July 1st. There is a show here in Orlando. So George come over and another two guys coming from Canada with him.
George and yeah, maybe Jim or Ron, or you should message George and be like, "Hey, bring Josh down." It's like,
I will tell him because, he's super nice and he's
oh
always
yeah,
into, like have a good team together. That's the
for
best
sure.
thing. When I went to Germany and to United Kingdom with him, it was Johnny Hall
Oh
and
yeah, remember Johnny?
and Dana Baker.
Yep.
We had really fun on it.
Oh yeah, Dana's back now with them, so that's cool.
You saw how his physique changed a lot too. He's looking really good.
Dana?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's looking really good. This he hasn't looked like this in many years. So I don't know what he's doing differently, but he's definitely doing something different.
check on him and he will tell you. He's back. He has been applying a lot of stretching and mobility to recover the range of motion. That changed his physique completely. You will see. He will tell
Oh,
you.
no doubt. I competed against him last year.
You won. You beat him.
Uh, dude, I should have. Yep. It is.
Nice.
It is. It is. There's in Nova Scotia here in Nova Scotia when that happened, and they they called him before me. You wouldn't believe the DMs I got going. What the
Oh.
fuck happened? Like they're like, is because that's how crazy it
Oh
was.
no! Oh
Yeah,
my
man.
god! You
It
know,
was
I always
like
wanted
people
my
were
friends to
pissed.
compete against each other. That's amazing.
But also, he outweighed me, right, by like quite a bit. So maybe
Oh
they were just
yeah.
going for size. Like I annihilated him in conditioning,
Oh
but
my god.
I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Can't not mad
whatever.
at. I'm not mad at him. Not mad at him. Just
Of
frustrated
course not.
at the judges. Not his fault. Good for him.
Yeah. As a bodybuilder, and I'm being honest, you should not be mad at the other athlete because
No, never.
I
Yeah.
recognize that he's still being a human with a dream, the same weight I have, and the only thing is that motherfuckers, you're gonna beat me. You better look good. That's the only thing I will ask
Right.
for.
Yeah. I was like 100%.
I remember when they give it to Cedric back in the
Yep.
year. I hug him and I say congratulations, but you motherfucker will pay the dinner tonight. And he
You
was
will buy your
laughing like a
pie.
bitch.
That's
That
awesome.
was fun. Yes.
that
Oh man, it was sad that he passed away because
that
if
was
I
sad
say
news.
one of the person I always wanted to do 100%, it was him, man. His physique was perfect,
It's
perfect,
so nice.
perfect.
It's beautiful, right? Yeah.
Absolutely perfect, man. Yeah,
Awesome.
I went to be close of him, and also with Sean Roden. I spoke a little bit too, and
Another good
those
guy.
guys because I admire their figures in terms of like performing bodybuilding. That's why I went just to be nice with them, and I'm being trying to be like, hey, bro, how do you do this? How do you
Mm-hmm.
do that? You know, and it was cool.
Very. Yeah, they were always so open and so just willing to talk.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice.
I'm real, you know. It wasn't always saying something stupid like Kai
Right.
Green. Kai was like real, but it was so simple that no one's believing him.
Oh,
I also
gosh.
judged him sometimes because I was like, motherfucker, you just pretending, you're not suffering at all, you know?
Right. No, no. Kai is great. He's yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
I got
always.
to chat with Kai quite a bit, actually.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, really interesting dude too. But on that note, man, I think we gotta call her quits. Um, we definitely have you back. We got so much more to go into.
yeah. Anything, man. I'm very open to talk and following us. The people who have the question we used to have.
Right, dude. I have like 30 questions from like Instagram people that we didn't even get into, but
Uh,
but it's getting late here, and we're running into about 2 hours. So
all right.
we can jump back and maybe do another one. We can grab some
Yeah,
more.
anytime.
Do like
When I
an
get them more conditioning and stuff like that, so I will send you some videos to you, so you can mix it up a little bit with when
yeah.
you
It'd be
edit the
great.
video.
We could throw
So
some
we
in
can,
through like we'll throw some in and during and do like within the editing and stuff and put them all over the place and
yeah. But it
for
was a
sure.
good talk, brother.
Oh
Be
man, we
able to
learned a
know
lot.
you.
People are gonna love this.
Thank you so much.
Dude, you're awesome. Thank you too. Really appreciate it. Like I've been following you for a very long time. I don't know if you've. I'm just one of those Instagram followers that, but I've been following
Yeah.
you and
Now there is a lot
watching
of
your.
people who I try to respond because they're super nice.
Yeah,
I really like the. Today I got some questions and I was like, you know what? I gotta be thanks to these people who considering to ask me something that they can go straight to Google and just look at it. You
yeah,
know, so it's amazing that
yeah.
people
You're
still feel that kind of confidence to us.
you're affecting people's lives in so many different ways, and we don't even know it half the time. We have no clue, but we do. So good,
Yeah. Thank you,
good for you,
brother.
man.
Have a good night today and enjoy it. Thank you for having me on the show. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was so
And
fun.
just put that questions there and we answer when the video is live. So
Yeah,
see you later,
100%. We'll do
man.
it. Awesome. Have a good night. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Say goodbye to Alex.
For sure. Thank you.